Do you have a need? A need for mead? Well, allow me to proceed, and let's see if I succeed in making some mead. Hello and welcome back. My name is Nordic HammerJ, and in this Food Forge video, I'm going to try my hand at making some Nordic mead. Now, technically, what we're making today is going to be not considered mead and considered more of a melomel. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Because if you're not familiar, mead is just a fermentation of honey, water, and some yeast with some yeast nutrient as well, and that's about it. If you were to add something to that mead while it's fermenting, something like juice or fruit or even some kind of spices, you now have what's considered a melomel. Now, for the sake of me being able to pronounce it correctly, I'm going to call what we make today Nordic Mead. Because, Nordic HammerJ, Nordic Mead, why not? It fits. So, yeah, excited. This is going to be the first time I've ever made mead. So, for this video, I got some help from a good man of a friend. Please welcome my Scandinavian brother. That's right. I forgot. My friend doesn't want to be filmed or on the internet or anything like that. So, for the sake of keeping his identity safe, I guess, and off the internet, let's call him Mr. Goodman. So, my friend, Mr. Goodman, was telling me that this mead is actually one of the easier things you can make at home, as far as like the alcoholic beverages you can make from home. Because you don't really need a lot of special ingredients or equipment. You don't need to heat anything up to certain temperatures. You just kind of mix it all together and go. Fairly simple. Before this video continues any further, I want to make it obvious and clear that Nordic HammerJ does not condone the production or consumption of any alcoholic beverages for anyone who is not of legal age of drinking in your country. Just because it's easy and simple doesn't mean that you should make it. Now remember, be safe, you've been warned, and only you can prevent underage drinking. Okay, so first things first is we need to get yourself something like this. It's just a gallon glass jar. I believe in the mead or brewing field is considered to be called a carboy, I think. Yeah, carboy. Nothing fancy, just a large glass jar. I've seen some people use like 5-gallon buckets that would work too. But I don't really have one that's food grade, so I'm using this carboy. And I guess actually the first step is you have to take everything that you're using, like your container, your funnels, any spoons, any mixing stuff, anything that you have to make sure it's nice and clean. And for that, you have to use what is called Star San. It is a sanitizing solution that is safe if you don't completely get all the little sudsy parts out, which you can maybe see. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit of suds in there, but it's perfectly safe, from what I've been told. Right? Right. He says it's right. He's a good man. He never let me die, I guess, from drinking soap, essentially. So, everything that I have has already been sanitized and cleaned completely. So, second thing, I guess, get your jar, get yourself a funnel, put it down on top, and I don't know if there's really a right or wrong order, but I'm going to add first some nice water. I say nice water because you don't really want to use tap water. You can, but if you use tap water, you're going to have to put in some anti-chlorine tablets. I forget the proper term for them, but they're essentially an anti-chlorine tablet because you don't really want that taste to it. Now, we're going to add our water. Sure, that's about good for now. Gonna have our water added to get to about half to third, just so it'll be a little bit easier to pour everything in. Don't know why I got rid of the funnel, because I still need the funnel. Now, for any kind of mead, we're gonna add some honey, because you can't really have honey mead or honey wine, as it's also called, without having honey. Now, I'm gonna add about 4 pounds of honey to this solution. And before I started filming, I warmed up the honey to make it a little easier to pour. Because, you know, honey is very chunky, just like that piece that fell in. And by warming it up, it should make it a lot easier to mix and blend together. So I'm going to let that kind of sink in and go. And that's not all of it. That's only about a pound. We've got the other 3 pounds right here. It's really sticky. So we're going to add in our 4 pounds. That's going to take a second to come down. So let me get this all added and I'll be right back. Okay, so apparently I didn't warm the honey up as much as I thought I was going to. I know, Freya, I know. But I didn't want to overheat the honey and potentially kill off all the like bacteria or the aroma, because you know when you warm stuff up, you can smell it. That's all flavor that you're missing or losing when you're going to ferment it. So I warmed it up to what I thought was warm enough, but I guess not. So now we've got honey water. Not really dissolved yet. So before I add anything else in, I'm just going to shake it all up. That looks pretty good. It looks like a really thick cider right now, but that should be good. So now that we added our honey to it, ooh, a little bit of pressure behind that. Next up, we're going to add, what am I going to add? Oh, I'm going to add what is going to make it considered more of a melomel than a mead, and add some cranberry. Now, I saw some debate online about whether or not to use like actual cranberry, frozen cranberry, or just like a cranberry juice, because there wasn't a lot of like solid answers whether how long to leave it in, if you should take out the cranberries at all or just let it all ferment together. So to prevent potential mold, I'm just going with 100% cranberry juice instead. So make sure it's 100% cranberry juice and not like 5%, because you know you want that juice, you want that flavor. So I added 2 cups of cranberry juice and done. Now that's looking pretty good so far, but now we need our yeast. So before we actually had everything going, I got a little bit of water and about, I'd say maybe a quarter of this packet of yeast, which is made for, I believe it's for wine. Premier Blanc wine, I believe. Yes, it is for wine. So I use about 1/5 of this pack, and I kind of just let it, I believe it's called hydrating, in some water, because you can see, it's nice and milky and cloudy and saturated. We're going to add that to our solution. Let anything that hasn't quite go or dissolve kind of drip in there. Looks like it's pretty good. And now we're going to have to add something for the yeast to kind of feed on or get energy from and consume. So we're going to add a little bit of this yeast nutrient as well. You don't need much, according to this package, that I can barely open apparently. Oh no. You only need 1 teaspoon to make a gallon of your mead, your honey, your wine, maybe beer too. Not quite sure. So, adding 1 teaspoon. See, you can kind of see from the angle. 1 teaspoon of yeast nutrient. Ooh, it kind of like popped a little bit, kind of like pop rocks. Interesting. So I believe that is everything that we need, because we don't need a chlorine tablet because we use spring water instead. Again, if you use tap water, you can, but it's going to have a little chlorine taste. We got all of that in there, and now we're going to shake it up. Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll shake it up a little bit first. So, give it a good shake. Yeah, looks pretty good. And because we have everything that's we're going to add to it, not really going to go too crazy, just adding the cranberry, because I naturally already add cranberry juice to my honey mead. So, why not? So to top it all off, we're going to add some more of your clean, good quality water, or just better than tap water. Good, perfect. So you can tell it's almost a gallon of water. Obviously adding like the honey, the cranberry, the yeast really doesn't take up much, but it pretty much is going to be a full gallon. You can add a little bit more. A full gallon of product when we're done. Good. Perfect. See? We're doing a good job. Right? Right. Ooh, a little bit of weight to it. So now, gonna shake it on up again. Make sure it's all nice and mixed up. Check the bottom. I don't see anything that's not dissolved. Looks like it's nice and good. Yeah, I think that's good. So the final step we gotta do, take the cork, this cap off, and we're gonna add what is called a airlock, which is this little fancy little thing with a cork, which has been cleaned. Again, it's everything that I've used or that has made contact with, everything. Yeah, everything I've been used to make this has been cleaned with the Star Sand product because, bacteria is bad. So, that is now on there. And the whole point of this is that while things are fermenting, you're going to have your CO2 going to build up. It's going to come up to the top. Going to go through this little upside down cup that's inside of this airlock and get essentially burped out through this top. Now we're going to let this sit in a dark room around 65 to 75 degrees, give or take. I mean, yeah, it's dark, but you're just going to want it to not be in direct sunlight, I guess, for some reason. Don't really know, but hey. So I'm going to put this in my pantry for a good chunk of time. There's a lot of talk online, anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks even. But we really don't have anything to scoop out of this one. It's all liquid. The honey's even pretty much liquid at this point. So we're going to leave this in the pantry for at least 6 months. And from there, we'll see how it goes. Ideally, by the time we get this ready to be consumed, it's going to be very clear. It's going to be very golden. And there's going to be a little bit of settlement on the bottom. We're just going to kind of siphon that out and go from there. So the longer that you take, corks wanting to come out. I'll put probably like a rubber band down it just to make sure that no bugs or anything get in there because, bugs are bad. But this is recommended to have for about 6 months to let it ferment and make alcohol. And if you were to drink it right after 6 months, it would probably still taste good, but it might be just really strong. So, Mr. Goodman has recommended that I would leave this to ferment for about 9 to 12 months, which ironically would put that, based off of when this video has been recorded, around Yule. So, hey, this Yule will be very special because we'll have our own homemade mead. So, that's about it. Really simple, right? Not too crazy. So if you like what you watch, hit that like button. Comment down if you want me to make another one, because I have a lot more yeast nutrient and a lot more yeast. I could probably make another batch of something. Any recommendations? Drop it down in the comments section below. And of course, hit that like button and subscribe. So in 6 to 12 months from now, you can see how this mead turns out. I forgot to mention that I don't really have a hydrometer to use to test what percentage this mead's going to be, because I just forgot to get one. But based off of what the recipe is and what I've seen online, I'm going to assume it's going to be around 12-ish%. You can still test it after it's done fermenting. So when I open this bad boy up in 6 to 12 months, we can test it then to see exactly what the percentage will be. But normally you use a hydrometer to kind of just bob in there like a fishing lure, and depending on where it lands on the scale, it tells you the percentage of alcohol it's going to be. So yeah, that's kind of it. Thanks for joining me on this simple and hopefully quick video, and I guess until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.